Welcome back to the Nuckhead podcast. The 2025-2026 NHL season is officially underway, and we're fresh off the Canucks' first game of the season. They played the Calgary Flames last night and won 4-1. Right? I don't actually know because I'm recording this on Thursday morning. But before you click away, I am going to be recording my reaction after the game tonight. You just have to wait until the end of this podcast. You can skip there right now if you want to. However, I have a great guest for today's episode, none other than fellow Canucks content creator DeanerHD. We talk about everything that happened in the offseason, from the Kane trade to the Šilovs trade to the Boeser signing. We gush about Braeden Cootes, and we gave our predictions for what ended up happening last night. So it's going to be a good episode. If you want to hear what I think about the game last night, just wait until the end. I'll be recording a one-take reaction right after the game. So yeah, let's get started. DeanerHD, welcome back to the Nuckhead podcast. This is your 5th time on the show, by the way.
Wow. Yeah, it's got to be some sort of milestone. I mean, this podcast's been a thing for how long now? Just over a year, eh?
I started it at the in the middle of the happy Canucks season, the 2023-24 season.
Right.
So January 2024. So yeah, I guess a year and a half.
Wow, awesome. I mean, I'm honored, obviously, to be on. I think you said a graphic one time where it was like the 192nd most popular sports podcast in Canada, right? So I'm honored to be
at one point.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it back there. It didn't help not doing any episodes during the off season,
right?
And I kind of slowed down. New year, new me. Gonna try to get back there. Gonna try to get to number 1. Gonna try to dethrone Joe Rogan, actually.
Awesome. I mean, hey, I'll do all I can to help you out with that, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, I got to be careful. If I keep having you on, it's gonna have to be called the Nuckhead and DeanerHD show. So
yeah, it seems like we're trending towards that, whether you like it or not. So I mean, we'll see.
That's your plan the whole time.
What happens? Yeah. Secretly, I haven't told you, but that's what I had envisioned all along.
So what's new? We haven't spoken at all since last season ended, and not a lot has happened, but the things that did happen were kind of pretty big news. In fact, I think like everything that happened was pretty big news. Let's think. Like, where do we start? Maybe the Boeser signing. How'd you feel about that?
Honestly, I was so happy to see Boeser back. I don't even know why, if we go back to a majority of last season where Boeser and the team weren't really able to agree on a deal. I don't even know why it was a question that he was going to get traded, or even after the trade deadline, they were just going to let him go because they couldn't agree on a middle ground for a deal. But I think that bringing Boeser back is one of the most important things that this team could have done. Not because Boeser is this 100-point player that's going to will the Canucks to a victory every single night. I mean, he is our best winger, and he's capable of scoring 40 goals. He's proven that to us. On any given season, he should be able to score 30 goals. But beyond just that, I think that Boeser is one of the, if not the most liked players in that locker room. And I don't know the guys personally, but I'd be pretty willing to bet on that statement. I mean, after he re-signed, you saw the reaction that was from the fans and his teammates, so many players reposting it. And I don't even want to know what this team would have looked like if he didn't re-sign, because first of all, we'd be really thin on the top end. We were already pretty thin in terms of star quality players that can put the puck in the net. But if we didn't have him, it would have just been brutal. And honestly, you go back 5 years, you talk about glue guys. Look at what Chris Tanev did to this team when the young guys, Pettersson, Boeser, and Hughes, were coming into the league. He brought them over for dinner all the time to hang out, really connected them. When he left the room, it really left a mark because they took a couple of years to, get back into a playoff conversation. And, I think that with Boeser back, it's really brought some of the life back to this team, especially from the fact that, most people, including myself and most people in Canuck Nation, thought that he was going to be gone for sure. So that was a pretty crappy feeling for, a majority of the start of the summer, at least until July 1st. And when he did sign for the deal that he got, that we got him for, 7.25, that's fantastic. And he really left some money on the table. It goes to show how great of a guy he is. And what he's willing to do to stay in the city that he loves.
Yeah, I mean, the day free agency opened, July 1st, like so many hockey fans, I was refreshing my phone, trying to see all the new signings. But the one I was most focused on is where Boeser was going to sign. And him re-signing with the Canucks wasn't even, as optimistic of a person as I am, it wasn't even like in the realm of possibility for me, because I believed he was going to re-sign pretty much all season until July 1st, because once July 1st hit, he couldn't sign an 8-year extension, right? That's correct, right?
Right, yeah.
So once July 1st hit, I just thought, oh, financially, like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like it's over, right? Like, it's done at that point. I really didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, I was just refreshing, trying to see, is it going to be Minnesota? God forbid, is it going to be Edmonton? Like, anyways, when I saw that news, man, I was so happy. Like, I think so many of us were, and I completely agree with you. Like, he's not only the most well liked in the room, or one of the most well liked in the room from what I hear, but he's also like just he's like a sweet spot in terms of being a fan favorite in this city. Because as we've talked about before, and it was a huge storyline last season. This city can be so unreasonably hard on its players, but there are some, like, you don't have to be a superstar talent to be an icon in this city. You don't even have to win a championship, obviously. Like, I think of someone like Alex Burrows. He was awesome for everything he was, but he wasn't never a top 10, even top 50 guy in the league, I don't think. But he's a legend out here. He'll never have to buy a beer in this city again. And Boeser has this, like, kind of this sweet spot where I know he's had his struggles and he's definitely faced his criticism, but not at a level of a Pettersson or a Sedin's at one point. And I just think for lack of a better term, the vibes he brings to this team would have been so incredibly missed if he had gone somewhere else. So I'm ecstatic that he's back. Like, I cannot. I mean, I still kind of in disbelief. And if he scores tonight, man, the crowd better storm the ice or something. Actually, don't.
Yeah, and better than that, I think that when they do the player introductions, I'm really anticipating to see what reception he's going to get when they announce his name. I think he's going to be one of the first players that they announce, because they do it by number. Yeah. So number 6. That'll be pretty interesting.
Don't they do the captains at the end or sometimes?
Oh,
true. Just the one captain, maybe. I don't know.
I guess it depends who they give the A to. I'm pretty sure Boeser will have the A, but you never know with Marcus Pettersson, and Myers, right? So, and Pettersson, yeah. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Boeser just has a quality, and I mean, he is just a nice guy. I think he had like a documentary a couple of years back. I think it was called Building Brock. I remember I watched it, and just seeing some of the things that he's done in the community. He's just a nice guy, right? And he's a good player as well. So, I mean, it's just a good combination for being a fan favorite in the city. And I think that most people were pretty excited to see him back. I don't think there's a single person that wasn't, happy as a Canucks fan to see him re-sign with the Canucks.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, okay, then speaking of, top 6 forwards, and partially I would argue one of the reasons we got this guy was because of the uncertainty around Boeser. How do you feel about acquiring Evander Kane?
You know what? I mean, much like most of the city, I was pretty shocked when that deal did come about. I think it was pretty early in the morning. And I think he actually leaked it himself first on a post on Instagram.
Yeah, he did.
It was kind of unprofessional, but I mean, I guess that speaks volumes to the character that Evander Kane is. I mean, you listen to his press conferences, and he brings an attitude for sure, which I kind of like, actually, because he just doesn't really care about the media and the reporters and the usual questions they ask, because they ask the same questions across the board. Doesn't matter what player, but it is pretty refreshing to see the answers that he gives. And in regards to the player that Evander Kane is, I'm not going to lie, I didn't like the player when he was on Edmonton. And if anything, I kind of hated him, especially in the series back when we played against them in 2024. The beef that he had with Zadorov, I loved seeing Zadorov crush him into the boards. And I loved seeing Miller, be hard on him and hit him every chance that he got. But at the same time, he's one of us now, right? And whether we like it or not, we're going to have to appreciate this guy for what he brings. And if anything, he brings quite a bit. So, I don't want to say that no one wanted to come to Vancouver in free agency, but it seemed like we weren't really going to get a big fish like a Marner or a Ehlers as much as we would have wanted to dream. So it is nice that we got a guy that has capabilities of putting up upwards of 50 points. And I think that with the right players can replicate that. People forget that he didn't have an entire season to work with, or he didn't have the entire season last year, and he jumped into the playoffs, still put up decent numbers. I think it was like 12 points in 21 games or something like that. He was really good in the first two series. The last two, he kind of teetered off a little bit. As long as he keeps his penalty, disciplines down, I mean, I think he'll be all right. But the bottom line is I'm willing to give this guy a chance. And he's from Vancouver. He seems excited to be here. I'm looking at pictures online of the morning skates, and he looks to be meshing well with the guys. So if he can find a spot in that locker room and be a good player on the ice, then I have no problem with Evander Kane being a Vancouver Canuck, especially the fact that it's a pretty low-risk signing. I mean, if it doesn't work out 1 year, you can move off of it pretty easily. If you like him and he has just an incredible year, then, I mean, you could look at the possibility of extending him. But then again, you do have to look at the age there and I guess where this team is at as a whole. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But overall, I'm pretty okay with Evander Kane being a Vancouver Canuck, and I've been more accepting of it as the preseason has gone on.
Yeah, exact same boat for me. When I heard about it through my mom, like she messaged me and she was like, Evander Kane is a Canuck, and I was like, no, you're looking at fake news. You're looking at AI or something. Like what? Like because I just like I was like, how did I not hear about it? A, and B, I just didn't like that being in the realm of possibility. Just made no sense to me, especially because at the time the question surrounding the Canucks was, are they going to re-sign Boeser? Kind of no, and are they going to re-sign Suter? So bringing a guy on that's going to make both those things harder. It didn't make sense to me at first. And I'm not alone in that clearly, but yeah, same as you. It slowly like kind of I was like, okay, like I do think that the question mark, or pretty much I don't even know if there was a question mark on Boeser at that time. I think maybe management had already just like accepted that he was gone, and they just threw a Hail Mary to him on the opening of free agency. So I think that was why they got Kane. I think they were like, we need a guy who's scored 20, 25 plus goals in the league multiple times. We need one, and we're not going to be able to sign one in free agency. We're not going to be able to trade for one without giving up a prospect or one of our higher picks. It just made sense. Like if you look back, like it actually does make sense. But then Boeser resigns, and now you kind of have this. Okay, where's Kane going to play? Is he going to play with Pettersson? And yeah, I mean, that I think what you said is like I'm willing to give him a chance. Like I think it all comes down to how he plays. And right now I'm just like you. Like I'm not excited about it. I'm okay with it. But when he lays that first big hit, or he sticks up for Pettersson or Cootes or one of the young guys, I think I'm going to start going from okay with it to happy about it. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. It really was interesting because I don't think that Boeser was signed at the time that we traded for Kane. No. So I think that.
Yeah, it was before the draft, right?
It was before, right? Yeah. So when it did happen, I was like, man, like this is the Boeser replacement. Hey, we're getting a 35-year-old guy that it has been a rival of this team for I don't know how many years, and now he's one of ours, right? So we just have to like that. So I mean, it was definitely something that we had to kind of get accustomed to, but as you said, with the young guys as well, he's really meshed well with Cootes and Lekkerimäki, who I'm sure we'll talk about a lot. But yeah, I mean, it seems like they're going to be aligned tonight. So if he can put up a goal early, or as you said, make a big hit to get the crowd going, I'm sure that people will also be willing to give him a chance. The guys that are also still on the fence in Canuck Nation.
Speaking of trades, we got to talk about Šilovs and Joshua gone. What do you think? Let's start with Šilovs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's bittersweet because I'm happy for Šilovs. I think that he deserved a chance to prove that he can be a starting goaltender in the league, and he played very well against the Rangers the other day, shutting down JT Miller.
That was amazing to see.
That was fantastic. And honestly, I couldn't be happier for the guy. I envy the success that he's had so early on, because I mean, we saw what happened at the start of last year. Šilovs had the opportunity to get the starting gig. with the Canucks against the Flames, and he kind of collapsed, lost his confidence a little bit. They buried him in the minors after that. Even when he got called up because Demko was in and out of the lineup for a majority of the season, it seemed like they never, or Talkett was never really willing to give him another chance after that. They were riding Lankinen for 7-8 games in a row, and even that started to show its effect on Kevin Lankinen, who had a very good start. But I mean, when you have that many games to be played consecutively, it's going to be pretty hard to maintain that level of a performance, right? So I didn't really think it was fair to Šilovs that he didn't have much of an opportunity. I will admit he didn't look that great with us last year in the NHL, but he really redeemed himself in the playoffs, obviously, winning it all and getting the MVP, right? So I think that, whether you like it or not, I mean, he's going to be a good goalie in this league. So it is bittersweet. So yeah, it does kind of suck. What can I tell you? He's 24 years old. But at the same time, I think that you needed to do whatever you could to bank on the fact that you need to have a good season this year. And Šilovs is still a little bit of a gamble. No one knew that he was going to come into Pittsburgh, play against the Rangers, and have a shutout on his first night. I don't think that anyone expected that, right? So I think if you asked me in the offseason who I wanted to get rid of out of Demko, Šilovs, or Kevin Lankinen, I think that Šilovs was unfortunately the odd man out. And I'm happy because we still got ourselves some insurance in I was going to say Daniil Medvedev, the tennis player, in Alexei Medvedev, because, I mean, he seems like a very promising prospect as well. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. But, yeah, no, Šilovs, I mean, obviously wish him all the best, but sucks to see him go.
I feel like, yeah, I agree. He had to go. I mean, putting him in Abbotsford for another season wouldn't make sense for him and his development, and it wouldn't really make sense for the team either. It was time for him to go and be a backup or a starter somewhere. And honestly, like, I see a lot of talk right now about, what if Šilovs turns into an amazing goalie? Who cares, really? Because I think that's a fact. I truly believe that Šilovs is going to be a starter and maybe even an elite goaltender, because it's not like he had one good run in the playoffs with the Canucks. He also killed it in Abbotsford and helped them win the Calder Cup. And then a few years prior in the World Championship with Latvia. Clearly, like that's 3 examples of this guy stepping up and not only like handling pressure, but exceeding under it. So I just don't think like that kind of trait can be ignored. And I'm not an expert on goalies or anything, so I could be super wrong here. Maybe he's just a very inconsistent goalie. Like, that's possible, but something tells me that we need to just prepare ourselves and be happy for him when he becomes I really think one of the best goalies in the league. I have a hunch about him, and that trade's not going to age well, but it had to happen, and I'm okay with the return.
Right.
It's fine.
On the Joshua front, that one I was a little bit upset about because, I love Dak as a player. And again, another player that wasn't really given that fair of an opportunity to, showcase what he's really all about this season because of the whole cancer diagnosis, which is, I mean, no joke, obviously. And it's very hard to come into a season midway. I think he came in like November or something like that, and just wasn't really able to pick up his stride, had no training camp. And, by the end of the season, he was left with only 7 points in 50 games to show for it or something like that. And, I mean, what can you really say about that? It was tough because, the Joshua from the year before that was just a wrecking ball.
So
he was a machine, and he was scoring goals, and the chemistry that he had with Bluger and Garland was undeniable. They weren't really able to replicate that again this season, but if there's anyone that I'd bank on to have a bounce back year after a full year of being cancer free and a full training camp, I'd say that Joshua's up there on the top of my list, because I think he's also a Toronto native, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going home. He'll be motivated. Yeah. And, I think there was an interview saying that he was surprised to get traded. I mean, I'm right there with him. I was surprised to see him go as well. But, at the same time, if anyone was going to go in that bottom 6, I think that he was the odd man out as well, because, his cap hit was the highest. He's turning 30. It didn't really make sense to trade another guy like a Bluger because he has value as a center and he's cheaper. O'Connor has speed and size, and, he's another guy that's kind of grown on me a little bit. But, I think he's had a very good training camp as well. And he's also cheaper as well. So that didn't really make much sense. And we just traded for him. So why would we immediately get rid of him? So it's tough. Joshua, he's another fan favorite from that playoff run, but I think it had to be done if you wanted to make room for some of the Abbey guys that really deserve a shot on this team, like a Carlson or a Max Sasson, or even, I guess, an Archie Baines, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Baines. But yeah, I mean, what the Abbey guys did proved that they deserve a look, and they weren't going to get one if there wasn't an open spot in that bottom six. So I think it kind of had to be done.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of seems to me what happened this summer was, okay, Boeser's not re-signing guys. We need to replace 20 goals at minimum, right? Boeser is a 30-goal scorer, I would argue, maybe even more. But we can't just lose 25, 35 goals. We need someone who can score and has proof of scoring that. And, I know Joshua had, I think, 18 a few years ago, but, once. And so bringing Kane in, but then having Boeser re-sign kind of left them like, okay, well, now we have this tough left winger who can score. What do we do with Joshua? It just, that left side got too filled up. And as soon as Boeser re-signed, it kind of started feeling like, okay, I think Joshua is going to go, or O'Connor. But like you said, trading for him and then trading him away a few months later, might not be the best thing to do. Although Patrick Allvin is not afraid to fix his mistakes. So, it could have been him. Who knows? Maybe they did shop him around. But yeah, I just think both of these trades had to happen. It is sad to see them go, especially Šilovs, just because his personality was so fun.
Yeah.
Seeing him shut out JT Miller as Miller's first game as captain of the Rangers was really nice. No hate towards Miller, but I love Šilovs and I don't love Miller. Anymore, right? He's not a
right.
And, exactly. And I'm sure I'll be saying the same about Šilovs when he shuts us out one day. So you mentioned Medvedev already and Cootes. Let's talk about the draft real quick. First of all, let's just go with Medvedev. Did you do any scouting on this guy? What do you think about him?
I don't know who the draft scout guys are. I'm not a Dave Hall or anything like that, right? So I didn't really know much about Medvedev. I didn't really watch many London Knights games, but from what I have seen from him, he plays a very athletic style. And I don't want to put this label on him already, but, a young player, 17 years old. I think he was one of the youngest in the 25 draft. I think he was a couple days away from being a 2026 eligible, which would have put him in a much higher draft position because he would have had a whole other season as the starting goaltender with the London Knights. And in an already stacked draft class in 2026, alongside Gavin McKenna and all these other studs, he would have been up there in the later half of the first round, which is what he would have been projected at if he was a couple of days or younger. But I did want to compare him to Sergei Bobrovsky. Actually, I think that they play a pretty similar style of just honestly, of just a goalie that's really active and athletic and able to just completely stretch out and make ridiculous saves. He played very good in that game against Seattle. He was a little bit hung out to dry, which is why he obviously had a couple of goals go against him. But I'm very
talking about the prospects game, right?
Yeah, the prospects game that he played in. I think that was his only start that he had, but I was pretty impressed. He made a couple of game-breaking saves, but
we couldn't see him in the preseason.
No, we didn't. I think that he got sent down pretty early on in that process because we had just a whole plethora of goalies that needed at least one shot.
Yeah.
So he was never going to make the team, and obviously not, right? That'd just be nuts, right? But
sorry, Demko.
Sorry, Demko. 17-year-old's going to take your spot, right? As the backup on the London Knights last year, by the way.
Oh, right.
I'm happy with the pick, and especially after losing Šilovs, it gives us some hope for the future. If everything goes to hell this year with our current tandem, at least we'll have something to look forward to in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, no, totally. I think, our goaltending depth and prospect pool is really nice. It's probably the team's strength. You could argue our defense is, but yeah, our goaltending pipeline's looking great. Okay, right. Let's just talk about Cootes, man. Let's stop beating around the bush. That's my bad. I don't know why we're talking about Medvedev. No disrespect to him, but we got to talk about Cootes.
Yeah. I've been waiting for it. I've been urging. I've been
So
waiting. It's like a year.
I know we're both veins popping out in our foreheads as we're sitting here talking. So, okay, let's go back to the draft. It's June, late June. Are you in the camp of, and be honest, okay, are you in the camp of trade that 15th overall pick, bring in a center, bring in a winger, someone, or are you in the camp of make that pick?
I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I really wanted to make the pick. I didn't want.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I really wanted to make the pick, and I'll tell you why. It's because I didn't like the centers that were on the market, other than McTavish. You know, if it were that's my one exception to that. You know, whole rule of trading or not trading the pick. If it was for McTavish, then I would have done it. But I really didn't want Marco Rossi. I wasn't high on him, and. Yeah, and you know the rumored price tag or the price tag that the Vancouver Canucks offered was the first round pick and Dakota Joshua. They said no to that. They said it would have had to be a better player along with the first round pick. So imagine who that would have probably had to be, like a Willander or a Höglander, Lekkerimäki. Like I don't even want to know what the Wild were wanting for Marco Rossi, who is a good player. I'll give him respect, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to will us over that line of the playoffs and, give us that edge when it starts to really get physical. Because we already have a pretty, small team on the front end, at least. On the back end, we're sorted, right? But on the front, we could have a little bit more size and grit. And I don't think that Rossi would have given us that. But look, I'm all for saving the money and waiting for the right opportunity to strike. There wasn't really the opportunity to get a good enough center. If there was, then I would have been all for trading the pick. But from the rumors of the players that were actually available, it just didn't really seem worth it. And, I'll stand by this. I think the best way to acquire centers is to draft them internally. So I really did want to draft a center from the get-go. I didn't know who was going to be available to us, whether that was going to be like a Roger McQueen, which, I mean, that would have been nice as well. I'll admit that was probably the guy that was
I was hoping he'd fall.
List. Yeah. I was really hoping with the back issues and stuff because, man, I mean that wouldn't be an issue in a couple of years' time. I'm pretty certain about that. Or like a Jake O'Brien or maybe even like a Brady Martin. Cootes wasn't really even on my radar. So when we did draft him, I was a little bit surprised, especially since that Swedish guy Victor Eklund was on the board. I thought that we were 100% going to go with him. I mean, not that I was going to be overly excited about getting another small Swedish winger, just kind of like a replicate of what we already have. So it was nice to see the Canucks go that route of taking a guy that's, I guess, semi-local in Braeden Cootes, right? But I mean,
we're going to go with Reshny.
Yeah, actually, that's another guy that is Canadian and played in the WHL, so I'm sure they had look at him as well. But I think he's pretty small. I think he's like 5'9" or 7 or something, or 8 or something like that. So obviously I'm happy that we took Cootes over him. But yeah, no, I mean, I'll die on the hill by saying that I think that the best way to get centers is to draft them internally. And we got ourselves a pretty great player in Braeden Cootes. So I wanted to make the pick, and I'm happy that we did in retrospect now. What about you? Because I mean, judging from your reaction, I don't think that you're on the same wavelength as me.
Well, I wasn't. It's okay. Yeah. Being completely honest here, I wasn't necessarily fully like team trade the pick, but I tuned into the draft anticipating Gary Bettman walking onto the stage and saying there's been a trade.
Right.
Because I just, with all the talk around Quinn Hughes and you need to get better now, I kind of was like, I don't know if we need a young guy. Or I'm kind of thinking, the way management might be looking at it. I don't know if we need a young guy to make the team better in 3 years right now. And fair. I think based on some of and I want to say leaked, but also it's kind of hard to tell what trade proposals are accurate or what, just speculation. But I've seen some where, I mean, the one you just mentioned for Rossi, like they did offer the pick, at least to Minnesota. And I've heard, it sounds like they also offered it elsewhere, trying to bring in a center, trying to bring someone in. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of had like decided, I was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to make this pick. And I just hope the trade that happens is something that I like. And man, I'm just, as soon as he was picked, as soon as I heard the announcer say, this guy's going to be the captain of the Canucks one day, I just had this feeling. I was like, man, like something. I didn't think he was going to make the team. I'm not about to, say that, but
full LeBron on you, the line.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I actually knew they were going to pick Cootes. Also, it's funny though. Apparently, like the Canucks only took or talked to one player before the draft. They took Cootes out for dinner, and that's it.
That's crazy. Yeah, and honestly, when I heard that, I thought they were going to trade the pick. I wanted them to make the pick, but I'm on your wavelength too. I thought they were going to trade it, so I was also anticipating that, but I was hoping that they would make that pick.
Yeah, I think that's kind of baller that they took one player out, like no backup. What if he goes 14th? Just they're like, no, we're getting this guy. He's ours. I feel like if I was Cootes, I'd be like, dude, I'm the choice. Like this, that gives me confidence as a player, I would imagine.
Right.
Not that he needs it though, because we'll get into this. I mean, we could just get into it now, man. He made the team.
I know.
18 years old, born in 2007, made the team, first player in 35 years to crack the Canucks opening night roster. Peter Nedved did it in 1990. I wasn't alive. You weren't alive. Cootes wasn't even a concept.
He was just an atom in space or something, I don't know what he was.
Let's get into
it. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, before we get into that, like, I just want to say, like, you're right. If he did get picked with the 14th overall pick or something like that, I don't even want to know what the Canucks would have done. I guess trade the 15th pick for Christian Dvorak or something like that. I don't something ridiculous like that. But yeah, no, crazy. I mean, in 07, doesn't that make you feel old, eh?
Yeah, very much so.
Even me, right? I mean, it's crazy that someone that's born that recent is, going to be on TV tonight, going against the best of the best. And I mean, he deserves a spot though. What can I tell you? I mean, he's been just getting better every single game, and he didn't have the greatest I think he got injured actually in the prospect showcase that he played. I think he played like a period or something like that. So when that game came around, I was like, okay, you know what? Like he's 18. So I mean, what can you really expect from the guy? But he just stuck around, and the biggest thing was he really just didn't give the Canucks a reason to send him down. Like there was no reason to. He was just playing better and better and elevating his game. And it got to the point where people were like, okay, you know what? He played against basically the Calgary Wranglers. He played all right there. Let's see how he does against the Seattle or the Coachella Valley Firebirds, right? He played good in that one too. And now then they're playing against a full Oilers squad, and he played good in that one as well. So what's the next step? It's a real game.
In that one, right?
Yeah, he did, right? And then what's the next step after that? You got to play a real game in the NHL. So I guess that's where we're at with Braeden Cootes. We'll see if he can elevate his game even further. But in saying that, I wasn't a guy that really was on board with bringing him onto the team initially, because I'm not really a fan of rushing players if they're not ready. And I mean, even now I'm a little bit cautious with Braeden Cootes, because you really don't want to screw up what you have here in this player. It's a special player who's going to be very good. So the last thing you want is like a Jake Virtanen or a Jared McCann situation where you rush him, you play him too early, and the next thing you know, you've kind of messed him up a little bit, screwed him up because maybe he got hit or something like that. So I'm confident he'll have a good game today, and I'm sure that they'll manage his load pretty well. That's weird to say, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it goes. He's shown really good chemistry with Lekkerimäki, and I'm sure they'll show that tonight. They have Kane playing on that line to protect them. He's a very capable player, very smart player, if anything.
Dude, he's so smart. He when the puck's on his stick sometimes for a split second, and he's making the perfect play.
Oh, I know, right? So to have that level of composure as an 18-year-old is remarkable, and the fact that it's only going to get better from here, the fact that like he's probably at like I'd say 40% of his ceiling right now, maybe even less, maybe even like 20-30%, right? Like you don't know how good this guy's going to be. I think that at the draft he was compared.
Wait, you think? Wait, you think he's what? You think he's at 40? Do you say 40%?
No, it's like maybe 20%. Maybe even less.
Dude, I feel like he's. I mean, I don't even know if I can give him a ceiling right now. I think
that's true. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
He's like he just cracked an NHL roster that is hard to crack. Like I know we're weak down the middle, and that made it probably a little easier. But dude, like there's good players, Sasson and Carlson. I don't think is going to be playing tonight. I might be wrong on that, but there's some good players. And like, dude, I mean, I know you know this, but I feel like 20% even. I think as you can tell, I'm high on this kid right now. Like, he's a drug, and I'm high on him for real.
Yeah.
I am so stoked. And let me ask you this real quick. I know I interrupted you, but I'm still going to ask you. Okay, here's my question. Do you think? Not even do you think? What would be your preference if he's playing great? Let's say through 9 games, he's got 3 goals, 3 assists. You know, not crazy, but for an 18-year-old, pretty crazy. Let's say that's where he's at. And he's, you know, he's responsible defensively. His list of mistakes is short. Are you going for the 10th game?
Yeah, that's the big question. That's the.
Because you said you're not a fan of rushing them, right? And I get that, right? Especially a kid that's showing this much promise, you want to be really careful. But with where the Canucks are at, and the need for a center, I'm just wondering if he's showing signs of, you know, being one of those rare players that can actually play a full season in the NHL at 18. Do you just go with it? Or do you think they'll just be like, screw it, okay, we'll send him down. We're going to move Willander for a center or something?
Yeah, okay, listen, you know, to all the Nuckheads watching or whatever, forget what I said a couple minutes ago. That was stupid to say that he was at 40% of his ceiling. Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, 18 years old, cracked the roster. And if we want to be good now, we need to ice the best lineup every single night. So I guess for me, I just want to take it on a game by game basis. You know, I don't want to say that, yeah, you know, he's playing all 82 games this year, you know, like 100%. But if he does have a great showing, if he does go close to almost point per game, or, you know, even, you know, 0.6 points per game or something like that, and he's good defensively, it'd be very tempting to do that. But then what do you do with like a Ratu or a Bluger as well? Because I mean, you have 4 centers right now with Pettersson, Hedl, Ratu, and Bluger. Do you just move Ratu to the wing, or do you just sit him in the press box?
No, you probably, if you want Ratu playing, which I think you do, just because he's a good face-off guy. I think the guy you'd move to the wing first would probably be Hedl. Now I know that makes, you know, that would probably make Cootes the second line center, so that's a big deal. But I think that would be the first guy going to the wing. Bluger and Ratu are too good at their positions, and not that Hedl isn't. In fact, the way he can gain the zone so easily is pretty impressive. So if he can do that on the wing, maybe, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. If Cootes actually can stay here past 9 games,
we don't know.
I just truthfully do not know what to expect here. Do you think Willander is now expendable with Mancini showing his skill?
Wow, all the hard hitting questions now. Yeah, I mean, look, Mancini was such a surprise, and honestly, I was really high on him last year as well. You know, there were reports that, you know, the Canucks maybe float him in a trade for a second line center. I really didn't want to do that. First of all, I mean, we just got him for a second line center, so why would we go back on that and do it again? Like, it made no sense. But he really did look like, I'd say, the second best defenseman on this team behind Quinn Hughes. I think he even looked better than Hronek in stages. The way he was moving with the puck, he's a big body, and you know, you shouldn't be able to move that well at like 6'3", 6'4". I think he is, right? So he's just a phenomenal skater, and you know, a late bloomer, a 5th round pick. People forget about this.
Wow.
But he's just grown into this beast. You know, he kind of reminds me of like an Owen Power light. I think they play a similar style, and you know, that's a pretty good player to get compared to, a pretty good young player to get compared to, right? So if he can become anything close to that, I think that's just an absolute win. And honestly, the more and more that, you know, the season goes on, I think that people are going to realize that the Canucks really did win the JT Miller trade. If you look at the value that they got across the board, they got better everywhere. We got 2 good forwards and 2 good defenders as a result of an aging 32-year-old that was an issue in the locker room, right? So, I mean, Mancini was definitely just like this surprise. And, you know, I mean, I was all for getting, I think it was like Braden Schneider. That's who I really wanted in the Rangers deal.
Same,
I'm taking Mancini. Well, that's crazy to say, but maybe it's because I just get emotionally attached to the players, and you see them go on the Abbotsford run. He was also a beast in that run as well. But if we could go back, I'm not taking Schneider over Mancini. I'm taking Victorio, the Italian stallion.
I heard that the reason the JT Miller trade took a while to happen was because the Rangers didn't want to include Mancini, and I would probably assume they also didn't want to include Schneider. Which makes you kind of think like they had plans for him. I mean, well, here you didn't really answer my question. Do you think Willander?
You
tried to
curve sidetrack.
You very politician answer there. You didn't want to admit. I'm leaning towards you think Willander's on the trade block.
Yeah. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to lose any of our prospects. Actually, I love them all. And honestly, the surge of a play. If you look at a guy like Lekkerimäki too, this is why you don't sell your prospects too early. Willander is only 20 years old? 20 years old player. Defensemen usually take longer to develop anyways. Look at Mancini. I mean, he's 23 now. He's finally coming into his own. He's only going to get better. DP was a surprise. I mean, 21 years old, he's already looking like that. That's ridiculous. But most defensemen, most highly touted defensemen, take a little bit longer to fully, come into their shell. And Willander, he did show a lot of promise in the games that he played. He was, a little bit rough around the edges, as to be expected. I mean, he only played in the NCAA, and the NHL is a completely different ball game. Maybe a little bit slow at times, making some mistakes, but that's normal. I'm fully sold on the fact that he's going to be a great top four defender in years to come on the right side. And he's a right shot defender too. Like, that's so rare. Like, you just don't. You don't really find guys like that too often. It's like a second line center. The best way to get one is to draft one, whether you like it or not. It's hard to negotiate with another team and win that trade. First of all, to make them cough up a right-handed defender that got drafted 11th overall, right? But secondly, to win that trade, it's so hard to do that. So, I don't know. Like, I really don't want to lose any of our young guys that are coming up. It's tough because you look at Šilovs. I mean, we lost him, and look at what he's going to blossom into. He's 24 years old. So I don't know. I think you got to give him a fair chance at least to prove himself. We took him over so many guys in that draft that I think that you have to give him a shot. But that being said, if a team comes knocking on our door, if Martin Necas isn't happy in Colorado or something like that, I'm just saying, right? I mean, I don't know, right? But you never know. Like, for the right price, I guess I'm willing to give up anyone except for, I guess, a Quinn Hughes, right? But I don't know. It's so hard to say. And the young guys, I've never been so excited about this young group of players that has been surging into the lineup and fighting for jobs in a very long time. I felt so good about like the farm and what they have going on in Abbotsford that I'm sure that Manny Malhotra is going to develop Willander into just a fantastic player. I think I've said Willander's name like 4 different ways in that response there. I still kind of am
Shorthouse the same Willander.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, yeah, because I've heard so many iterations of it, and I'm sorry to the viewers, but I don't know. I feel so good about what they have going on there, and I'm really excited about the players that come up. I really love watching prospects develop and grow. So
he's Willie from now on.
He's Willie, yeah. He's Willie.
But I agree. But the question and not even the question, the overall goal of this team is keeping Quinn Hughes. And Quinn Hughes I was going to say he made it clear. He actually didn't make it that clear. But essentially what he said is the team needs to be good, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Yeah, obviously the Canucks need to be good for him to want to be here during his prime. So what I'm thinking is, let's say, we have another season like 23-24 where we're a few weeks away from the trade deadline and we're in a position to add, right? And there's players like Elias Lindholm and Zadorov or whoever that are available. Not those guys, but just because that was 2023, 2024. But you know what I mean? Like, just that's what I'm kind of talking about. Right now, I agree. They're going to just run with this lineup until they can't, or until they need to make it better or something, right? And I like this lineup. But again, if we're in that position, the same position as we were 2 years ago, which I don't think is that crazy. I know we don't have Miller anymore, and I know Pettersson's a question mark and all that, but I don't know. If we're in that position, you got to assume, and for the record, I don't want Willander traded, but you got to assume like what could get you a difference maker, not even like a game breaker type player, not some crazy addition, but just likely a center that can help an 18-year-old out if he sticks with the team, help injury-prone Filip Chytil out, take some of the pressure off of Pettersson. And, you got to wonder, what would they actually give up?
That could be big. And it really is contingent on who that player is. It
would cost you, though, right? It would cost you like one of those guys, first-round picks, something.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of it right now is that you really don't know who's going to be available in a couple months' time. Teams are going to start falling out of the race, and this is a very loaded draft class. So if teams realize that they're not going to be making the playoffs, I could definitely see teams selling really early on, right? And that would benefit us if we do have a good start to the season, right? So you never know, man. If Buffalo starts playing bad, or if Detroit or whoever, right? I mean, they have some decent centers on their teams.
Buffalo starts playing bad?
Yeah, I mean, listen, all I'm saying is I'm going to give each team a chance. Every team starts at 0 at the start of every year, right? So you never know with the Buffalo Sabres, right? But no, I mean, I'm not that high on them. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's hard. It depends on a lot of things. Don't want to trade him right now, but as you said, I mean, second line center is a very big role on this team, and it's going to be hard to fill the shoes of JT Miller, right? But if they can do that, then I guess I'm with you on that. And I mean, I don't want to say I think.
Let me just be clear here. I don't want to say I think Willander should be traded. It's my fault. I should have made that clear. Because I don't. I'm just kind of thinking about the possibilities if the Canucks are in a position to add at the deadline. Because they will. I mean, look, we know the stakes, right? And we know this management group isn't afraid to make moves. So it makes me wonder, like, that battle between Mancini and Willander, if it even is a battle, we might find out this year which one of them wins it, and the other one being gone. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not saying that I want that to happen. I'd love both of them right there, pairing 2, pairing 3, playing with Pettersson and Pettersson. I think that would be ideal. Maybe not this year. I don't want to say Myers has to go, but down the line, right? That would be
poor guy.
The good look. Okay, we're running out of time, so I want to ask you some other stuff. There's three more things I really want to quickly touch on because I'm curious. Lekkerimäki, how stoked are you? How many goals is he getting?
Honestly, the biggest surprise out of camp, because he really didn't show that well in the Abbotsford Calder Cup playoff run, but he's been great. Not. No, yeah, he really didn't, and he was in and out of the lineup. I wasn't sure about him, but he's come in and he said, "Yeah, no, I'm staying up with this team," and you have to respect it. I love what I've been seeing from him. He just has to keep shooting goals or keep taking shots, and the goals will come. He had one of the highest shooting totals in the AHL last year. So if he keeps that number up, if he keeps just sticking to his strengths, I could see him easily getting above 20 goals this year at the least. Honestly, I'd say a floor of 15 if I'm really being conservative about it. But I could see a ceiling of 25, 30 for this guy, honestly, especially if he starts to move up to the first power play as the season goes on. I could see 20. I'm gonna say 25 goals for Jonathan Lekkerimäki.
It feels like a breakout season is about to happen. It really does.
Absolutely.
He is going to catch teams off guard. And yeah, if he does get moved up to that first power play unit, what do you do as a defending team looking at, you got Hughes up the middle looking to, deflect a shot in off Boeser or just snipe one himself. Then you got Pettersson on one side, Lekkerimäki on one side. It just seems like an absolute nightmare. If that and the power play looked good in the preseason. I know it's just the preseason, but they were moving the puck around fast and with confidence. And if that were to stick around in the regular season, and you throw Lekkerimäki there with that dangerous shot, I could totally see him racking up the goals this year. I'm saying at least 20. I'm stoked on him, man. I am the most excited I have been for this season than I have been in a long time.
Oh, same as me. I was going to say that as well, right? Even more than last year, because last year there was an expectation that we were going to do well and steamroll the competition. And it was all about, how do we get better and how do we do better than last year? This year, it just seems like we have this new wave of talent coming in, and you really don't know what their ceiling is, how they're going to do. And then mixed in with, the resurgence of our top guys, you're expecting the Pettersson bounce back. You brought Boeser back. The defense is looking great. Demko is looking to have a healthy year. It's just going to be fantastic. And you said it best, man. On that power play, if you have two snipers on the side and a player that's so good at passing, like Quinn Hughes is, then it's just going to cause so many problems for the opposition. So I cannot wait to see that on full display this upcoming season.
Okay, the other thing I want to talk about real quick is the McDavid contract. So just super briefly, because this is the Canucks podcast. Who cares? I don't even care about that guy. But how do you think it affects the Hughes situation, if at all?
You know what? It's great for the Hughes situation, honestly. The Kaprizov contract, I mean, that kind of made the market just kind of go crazy. No one really knew what everyone's value was after that. That just completely set everything ablaze. But what this McDavid contract has done is kind of, I guess calm the waters a little bit. People were ready to say, okay, McDavid's gonna make 20 million. What's Hughes gonna get? 15, 16, comparable to Kaprizov, right? And is he even going to stay at all with the Oilers, right? Or is he going to jump ship to play in, I don't know, Tampa Bay or go back home to Toronto or something like that? What this has done is it's kind of cemented McDavid's legacy as a loyal player. And honestly, I'm not a McDavid fan. I don't like McDavid because of what he's done to the Vancouver Canucks for so many years, and he's just terrorized us. But I have to respect the fact that he did that, and that's a really big team player move there, and you can't hate that. I mean, he left so much money on the table, and honestly, that's made him just a much more likable player. It proves how much he's willing to do to win. And if Hughes wants to cement his legacy, I think he's definitely thinking about the same thing, and also wanting to win as well. Is he going to be willing to not take $15 million to just cash in? Hughes has a lot of money. His brothers are making a ton of money. His parents have money, I'm sure, and he has a lot of money, right? So I think the ultimate goal is to win. And, if he follows in McDavid's footsteps, I could definitely see it now. I think it's beneficial for the Vancouver Canucks to retain their talent because, why would he do that to himself? I think that, the payoff of playing with his brothers, it's fun, it's great, but he would just look so bad in the city and across the league as just someone that, just kind of quit on his team as the captain, right? So I don't know. I want to hear what you think as well, though.
I'm not really all that worried about Hughes leaving the team. I just don't see that as of course it's a possibility, but I also know that negotiations and trying to make the most of, what ultimately is, it's super, super, rewarding financially, but it's a short career. They if they can, and I don't blame them, get good at this sport and get to a point where you can dictate the amount of money you make and retire in your late 30s or earlier with injuries. If you have an opportunity to provide like generational wealth for your kids and your grandkids, and maybe even their kids. So I don't blame them for going all in. It's such a rare thing to be able to do. And I just kind of see all this talk, like they're brothers, right? They hang out, they grew up together, they have a group chat, they see each other in the off season and probably chill every time they're in close cities or playing each other. I just kind of see what they're doing as a negotiation tactic. And that's all I see it as. And so when that moment comes, when the Canucks are like, all right, buddy, like what's it going to take? When he does the thing that every player does and kind of goes, I'm going to take my time. Yeah, we'll play throughout the season. He'll also have 4 years of sound bites from Jack and him and Luke saying like, oh, of course we'd love to play together. Of course, as if they're not going to the Olympics, as if they're not going to play in another 4 nations, of course they're going to play together. And I just think it's all negotiation. I think it's all just trying to make it so he gets the biggest payday possible with the cap going up and all that. I get it. I'm not mad about it. If he left though, he might get booed.
It would definitely stain his legacy. And I mean, come on, like how much brother time do you really need? That's what I'm thinking, right? So,
yeah, like
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I get the idea is cool, but what's also cool is leading a Canadian team that's never won a championship to a championship as the captain while your brothers go and flail around in New Jersey.
After game 1 against Nashville, he literally admitted himself that he went to a Devils game 1 against the Rangers, their playoffs, and that it just was not comparable, the atmospheres of Rogers Arena to the Prudential Center, right? He just said that the vibe in Vancouver in the playoffs was just second to none, and I don't see why you wouldn't want to lead that or continue that and try and see what you could get out of it, try and see if you could go all the way and be the guy in 55 plus years to finally bring home the Stanley Cup to the Vancouver Canucks. It just doesn't make any sense if he decides to go against that. But I don't know what's going on. Yeah. What's going on in his head. We don't know what's going on in his head. It's all speculation, and I think he's actually done a pretty good job at, I guess, not making it that big of a deal. I think that a lot of it's just people online just continually pushing the issue, and that honestly doesn't help at all. I don't know why people continually just hammer the same thing, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of feeding into it a little bit here. Let's give our predictions for tonight's game.
Yeah, honestly, you look at Calgary, they won yesterday against the Edmonton Oilers, a miraculous comeback. Hilarious. Honestly, I was loving it. If you look at the goals that the Flames scored, all 3 of them were flukes. The first one was a bank shot off of an Oilers skate. The second one was almost a high stick batted in. And the third one was just Stuart Skinner being himself. On top of all that, the Flames had opportunities to win that one with power plays and this and that. They don't really look like that great of a team. I don't know how they won that game. So the fact that they're going on a back-to-back against the Vancouver Canucks, they're probably going to be playing their backup goalie, Devin Cooley, who I think has like 3 or 4 starts to his name. I wouldn't have the most confidence in him. I think the Vancouver Canucks are going to just destroy him tonight. I'm saying it's going to be a 5-2 victory for the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, honestly, I really do. I mean, we beat them 8-1 a couple of weeks ago with the full NHL roster. Granted, it was preseason, but we didn't even have our full team on display for that game. I think we had a couple lines missing, but we're going to have everyone going today. It's home opener, Flames on a back-to-back. Everything is leading to a big dominant Canucks win, and I fully expect that.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we're in very similar boats here because I'm not just saying this. I actually had my prediction all loaded up in my head. I was going to say 4-1 Canucks, and I think Evander Kane is gonna get on the score sheet twice.
Wow.
Maybe one is an empty netter, but I just think, especially if he's playing with Cootes, those were the lines that I saw this morning or yesterday morning. But, they obviously could change, but it looks like that third line is going to be Kane, Cootes, and Lekkerimäki. And I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys get on the score sheet, but through Kane, just because that seems like the story that would sell the most tickets. As we all know, this is scripted. The NHL is scripted. So I just think that's going to happen. I think that's what the writers are going for. They're going to give Kane the controversial pickup. They're going to give him 2 goals, maybe a game winner, 1 empty netter, and Canucks are going to walk away laughing with a 4-1 victory. That's my
thought. I mean, I'd love it. I'd say my 2 goals. I mean, my 2 sure goal scorers are Boeser and Artūrs. I have a feeling about those 2 guys. So we'll see what ends up happening, but if the scriptwriters are watching, then they have some pretty good storylines to go off of.
Hire us. Actually, I have a really good script for this year, and it ends with the Canucks winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, come on now. This is where the value's at, right? So
yeah, actually, wait. Lightning round. Quick question: do you think Pettersson's back?
Pettersson is. Well, it depends what you think about back. I think he bounces back to just about point per game. I think that would constitute back in my book. So I say he gets around 80, 85 points. I think he's going to be back. He looks a lot lighter. He's shooting the puck. He's actually creating chances. He looks like he wants to go out there and actually score as opposed to just being a floater out there in the offensive zone. I think he's going to have a great year. I picked him up late in my fantasy draft, a great value pick, and he's going to be numbers. So yeah, I mean, I had to do it, right? It was just, it's going to be a league winner, and I have full confidence in my man Elias Pettersson.
Me too, man. I'm on the PD bandwagon this year. No, not even. Wait, what do I mean? I'm towing the bandwagon with you. I'm letting everyone else.
Yeah, we built that.
Yeah, exactly. I've never even left, dude. I've been on that since his first game.
Exactly.
Okay, man. Well, it's been great having you on again. I'm happy we are back for a new season. putting out new videos. Everyone go check out DeanerHD's YouTube channel. Yeah, man. Anything else you want to say?
Hey, man, look, the Pacific is weak, but we're not in that category. I think that we're going to have a great year. Make sure you check out both of us. We're going to have a lot of great videos, and it's going to be a fun year. So I'm excited, and I think that you guys should be as well. So thank you for sticking around. I think it's been like an hour and 10 minutes we've been recording. So yeah, if you've been watching, you're a real one.
Yes. Thank you for sticking around. Appreciate that. All right. Bye.
All right. See you, man.
A few moments later.
Well, what a game that was. It looks like Diener and I's predictions were basically spot on. 5-2, he said. I said 4-1, and the Canucks won 5-1. Man, when Pettersson went down, when he took that hit from Weegar, I'm sure all of you are with me on this. I felt depressed. It did not look good. I really thought to myself, okay, so that's how this season is gonna go. Nice. But then he came back, and man, it was only up from there. Sherwood opened the scoring. Big goal. Flames had momentum in the first period until that point, in my opinion. Hedl, 2 goals. Lekkerimäki, first goal of the season. Boeser sniped one home. Demko basically got a shutout. I know he didn't actually, but he got a shutout. We all know he got a shutout. You know what I mean? No, I'm super happy with that win. That was awesome. I'm not going to say too much because I am going to make a regular main channel video about this. Also because it's 10:30 and my bedtime these days is a lot earlier than that. But yeah, I feel good. Let me know how you guys feel. Man, Canucks are back. The NHL's back. Can we go 82-0? Let's see. I don't know. Okay, bye.